very important to really have a value proposition or know what your value proposition is. This really captures what a value proposition is. Usually it's expressed as a statement, and it's a clear statement, and it addresses a problem. So it describes what kind of problem you solve for either the customer or an existing customer, or how do you make their situation better than what it is. And as you can see, I have there in bold the relevance. So we'll talk more about what that really means. But it has to be relevant to your prospect or your customer, but it's tied to solving a problem. By the way, as entrepreneurs, we are perpetual problem solvers. We are constantly solving a problem either for ourselves operationally or for a customer. However, sometimes it's a stretch when we really think about things from the context of what our problems or what kinds of problems we are solving for our customers. And so once we are clear on who our customer is or who our ideal or our target customer is, then the whole conversation for exploration of what their problems are is a lot more focused. And then how we solve those problems, that becomes a bit more efficient as far as how we can go about addressing it. The other thing is what we call measurable value or some type of benefit. So as we are in our statement, it has to convey some type of benefit to the client, and then addresses the why. Why should someone do business with me versus someone else or the competition? And so that's where the differentiation really is. So it really, a strong value proposition kind of hits those three areas. The problem or, the relevance has to connote some type of benefit, and also connote, why you versus someone else. These are some characteristics. So what is a value proposition? It's really a promise that we're making. So we're making a statement, and that statement is, hey, this is what I can do for you. So it is basically a promise. But from a customer's perspective, they have to believe it. And they have to believe in the experience that we are fostering in using the product or service. So from the customer's perspective, what kind of experience am I expecting from this? The best type of propositions are concise, and what I mean also compelling. So the more compelling, when I say compelling, it arouses certain action or some type of emotion. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it conveys some type of relevance. Again, the relevance is it's addressing a problem or a need. It's making life better or my situation better. There's some type of tangible value, which is a benefit or even a quantifiable value. And then it's unique. Most people or most clients or customers, either they're experiencing pain right now or they will. And so we are often trying to relieve ourselves of pain or prevent some type of pain. And so when we can make the connection of how well our service or our product can relieve someone of pain or prevent them from experiencing that pain, that helps make our statement or our proposition a bit more compelling. So here are some examples of familiar brands. Some of these are actually what we call taglines, but because sometimes, ideally, you could take your value proposition and convert it to what's called unique selling proposition, which is a very, very short phrase that reflects your value proposition. So this is Uber's, let's say, tagline for USP. The smartest way to get around. Here's the relevance, or let's say the problem that they were addressing. Convenience and efficient transportation, but not just convenience. Knowing how much you're going to pay or how much it's going to cost is definitely helpful. This was the benefits. Again, convenience. It was efficient transportation. And then again, much more innovative and user friendly. A lot of times we get into cabs, they weren't as clean. Then again, I've been in some different Uber vehicles that are a little bit questionable, but it's different, and they're a lot more conversational. So that was their differentiator, Uber. iPhone's marketing is mostly about the experience. The experience is the product, is kind of their statement. And so, they focus on the users having the best type of experience, mostly enjoyable, superior to, so it's beyond just having a phone. And you can use, it's connected to all of your other electronic devices, the iPads and other kinds of iClouds and so many other things. Again, position it more than just a phone. And that's how they kind of separate themselves from their competitors. And those who use iPhones really have that thought, oh, didn't know it's a choice. So they do a very good job branding. Another one, Dropbox, securely sharing, syncing, and collaborating. Typically, if you use Dropbox, there's some type of file that you are sharing with a team or other people. So it was relevant because this is how they kind of position themselves as a differentiator. Okay, Spotify. Music for everyone. So it depends on what kind of taste doesn't matter what type of taste that you have, you can find music there. So it appeals to a broad range of audience, not just people who are into hard rock or people who are into jazz or people who are into hip hop. Anybody can go. So that's how they positioned their brand. And it's accessible and inclusive. So that's the benefit. What's interesting is, from a small business perspective, we always emphasize by being really, really focused and forming a niche that could be a differentiator. When you have millions and billions of dollars, you can appeal to a wide variety of groups. And Spotify is in a position of doing that. And then that is how they position themselves. So their differentiator is it's not just any single type of music. It's for all kinds of music. So if you're kind of even not someone who's in the country, but you just wanted to kind of see where you can find country music, you could go to Spotify and get that music. So I've used Slack. It's very productive from a team work perspective. You can communicate. So in lieu of just focusing on text and emails, you can post things to a broad group of people and they could get notifications of your messages. So if you're on it's ideal if you're on some type of project team. So makes you as a team much more productive because you can communicate through one single platform and it's connected to your email, to your phone, and so forth. So you can get the messages and share the messages. The benefit, you become much more efficient as a team. And so they make it, this is how they differentiate their product. It makes work more simple and less effort compared to the alternatives. Value proposition, how do we make ourselves unique? Or how do we separate ourselves from alternatives? One is through having a different type of feature with our product or service. So some type of functionality. An example, it could be some type of smartphone that has a unique kind of camera. That could be one way. Or quality, some type of quality product or craftsmanship. In this case, a luxury car has special materials or special type of engineering. Another one is through customer service. And one way is how we can promote that is we could talk about how people have experienced our services. Or if we have some type of different type of technology. So in this case, innovative technology, if there's nowadays AI is a bit more prevalent, but a few years ago, not everybody was using AI. But you can definitely use that to enhance. In this case, if there was a software application that gave advanced analytics, could be a different type of differentiator. When it comes to our value proposition, remember, it's a promise. It's sustaining our brand. But as we scale our business, we want to make sure that we have the right systems in place that help sustain that level of excellence, level of service, and upholding the value proposition. Here are some other ways that a lot of companies differentiate themselves by offering some type of exclusive benefit or some type of perk. So it could be a membership program. I remember a good friend of mine used to make custom made suits. And let's say the average suit was like $2,500. So we're not talking about something off the rack. These are custom made. And so he kind of created a club for high rollers. And so he gave them other kinds of benefits, such as, because the margins in his products were very strong, give them like discounts to certain restaurants and so forth. So that was a way of differentiating his business, his custom suit business, from other tailors. And then changing your model, or having a business model that addresses a certain need. So in this case, an example would be a subscription service that delivers curated products or services. So these are just different ways of changing our operations or how we do business so that we're a bit more distinct from the competition. Now we're going to talk about your business, because we've been kind of speaking generically, and a lot of what we were discussing applied to larger businesses that have the resources to kind of do some experimentation and change various processes. So these slides have some questions, and the first one really is about addressing the problem. And so I'd like for you to read these questions. Who is your ideal customer? All right. And so this could be the person that you want to serve. So not everybody is capable of buying from you, but there's some people that you want to serve. So who's your ideal customer? What problem does your customer complain about before they even find you? So what are the frustrations, risks, inconveniences that you're helping your customers or potential customers avoid? So again, that addresses the pain point. If you were to disappear or go away tomorrow, what will your customers miss the most? And then what job is your customer hiring you or hiring your product or service to do? The next one are outcomes, or let's say the benefits. So after working with you, what is different for the customer? Or what do you help customers save? You help them save time, money, energy, stress, or mistakes. How do customers measure success after buying from you? Can you attach a number, range, or time frame to the benefit you deliver? And what proof do you have? Testimonials, repeat business, referrals, that your value actually shows up. If we don't know this information, how can we find out? It's nothing wrong with asking the customers. You can either ask them in a conversation or focus group, or do a survey. Now, a lot of times, if you get a 10% response, you're doing very well, unless you're going to give some type of bonus for them completing a survey. But a survey is very helpful. And it's extremely important to get testimonials. It's nothing wrong with asking a client, especially right after you deliver a product or service, to get them to give you some type of statement, and ask them if you don't mind using it, and then asking for referrals. So if someone is willing to give you if someone is not willing to give you a referral, that should say a lot. But it's okay to ask. Hey, if you're satisfied with the work that I do, and it's always a good idea to even do it before you deliver the product or the service. If we agree to, for example, if we agree to move forward, if you're happy, I'd like for you to refer me to other people in your similar situation is a way of doing it. And a lot of people will agree to do that. And if they're delighted, they'll definitely do it. So why do customers choose you instead of the cheapest option? What do you do that competitors don't or won't do? What do you believe about your customer or industry that others overlook? If your competitor copied everything you do, what would they still get wrong? What part of your process, personality, or perspective cannot be easily replicated? Then it's the credibility and the trust. So when we have a value proposition, people has to be believable. All right. So why should a customer trust you to solve whatever that problem is? What experience, story, or expertise gives you credibility? What objections do customers raise and how do you address them? What risk does the customer feel when choosing you and how do you reduce that risk? And then what signals, such as language, pricing, guarantees, reinforce your value? All right. So this can come out in your conversation. So it's not just what you have in your social media, but this could be part of the two-way conversation that you have with the customer. So when it comes to our value proposition, we want our message to be as concise as possible, as simple and well understood. So can you explain your value proposition in 1 or 2 sentences without jargon? Would a stranger immediately understand who you help and how? And what would you say if you had only 10 seconds to explain your business? And by the way, a powerful framing statement, which I call it, is one that invites more questions where someone will want to know, how do you do that? Or a follow-up question. So that kind of lets you know if it's resonating with the people in the room. What part of your value proposition do people most often misunderstand? Okay. If your customer had to describe your value to someone else, what would they say? This is what we call starter language for really crafting a value proposition or a statement that represents your value proposition. So we help, and then it's the who, or the people. We help blank who struggle with, and that's that's the problem, by providing whatever your solution is, so they can, and then that is the benefit. So again, there's something that you're offering. First of all, it starts with your target. Who's your target market or your ideal customer? And so you want to help them do something, but there's a reason they're having an issue with something. So you help people who are struggling with that issue by offering or providing something so that they can benefit somehow. Again, our value proposition, really the starting point is who are we targeting, and really understanding that target market and or that segment, because everything really starts there. When it comes to our value proposition, we want to address the pain points to the extent that it has an emotional appeal. It is more compelling. Also, if it's concise, it could be extremely powerful. Has to have some type of benefit that matters. And also, how is it unique compared to the alternatives? So a strong value proposition is not what you say about your business, but it's what your customer experiences. So remember, it's the experience of the customer and what they are willing to pay for.